You remember that moment. You're sitting right next to her, maybe at dinner, maybe on the couch you picked out together, and somehow, despite being 2 feet away, you have never felt further from another human being in your life. She's scrolling. You're staring at the TV. The room is quiet, but not the peaceful kind. It's the kind of quiet that has weight, the kind that presses down on your chest. And in your head, the thoughts are running. Why does it feel like this now? Did I do something? Is this just what it turns into? Is she still into me? Am I still into her? Or am I just scared of what it means if I'm not? You don't say any of that out loud. She doesn't either. So both of you just sit there, in the same room, living completely separate emotional lives. Here's the thing most people get completely wrong. They think respect in a relationship is something you earn by doing impressive things, by winning arguments, by achieving more, by presenting a polished version of yourself. But that's not how it works. Not with the person who actually knows you. Real respect isn't what she thinks about your resume. It's what she feels when she's around you. It's the quiet signal your presence sends to her nervous system every single day, before you've said a single word. You're not failing at this. You haven't lost her. You just haven't been taught what actually builds this, and nobody talks about it honestly. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what those daily habits are, the ones that quietly, steadily, and deeply make a woman respect the man she's with. Not because you performed for her, but because you became someone she genuinely, instinctively trusts. Let's get into it. Here's what most men have been told their whole lives. That respect is about strength, status, and control. That if you just provide enough, achieve enough, hold your ground enough, she'll respect you. And honestly, that's not entirely wrong. But it is deeply incomplete. Because here's the real truth. Respect isn't born from what you do for her. It's born from who you are when nothing is at stake. It's born from the 100 small moments in an ordinary week where you either show up as a man who is grounded, self-aware, and emotionally steady, or you don't. And most men never crack this, because nobody told them that a woman's respect operates on a completely different frequency than admiration. Admiration is what she feels when you succeed. Respect is what she feels when you're honest about your struggle. Admiration peaks at the highlight reel. Respect lives in the quiet, unglamorous daily reality of who you are behind closed doors. Her nervous system is reading you constantly. Before her mind has even caught up, something in her is clocking how you handle a frustrating day, how you respond when she's in a bad mood, whether you follow through on the small things you say you'll do, whether you're present, genuinely present, or just physically in the room while your mind is somewhere else entirely. Most couples miss this. They focus on the big gestures, the anniversaries, the trips, the conversations about the future. And those matter. But they are not what builds deep, unshakable respect. What builds it is the everyday version of you. And these 7 habits are the ones that do it. Quietly, powerfully, and without a single word. Habit 1. You do what you said you would do. Most men underestimate how loud their follow-through is. We make small promises constantly. I'll handle that. I'll call them back. I'll look into it this week. And then life happens, and it slips. And individually, none of those slips feel like a big deal. But what she registers, not consciously, not as a list of grievances, but at the level of her nervous system, is a pattern. And that pattern quietly answers one of the deepest questions a woman is always asking. Can I count on this person? Here's the deeper truth. Reliability isn't just a practical thing. It's an emotional thing. When you consistently do what you said you'd do, her nervous system stops having to brace. It stops anticipating disappointment. And when a woman stops bracing around you, something opens up in her. She relaxes into the relationship in a way that feels entirely different from when she's managing her expectations. The disconnecting version sounds like this. I was going to handle that, but things got crazy. The connecting version isn't a speech. It's just done. She walks in, and it's already done. And something in her quietly registers, he said he would, and he did. That's not a small thing. That is the foundation of trust, and trust is the foundation of everything. When you become the man who does what he said he'd do, consistently, in the small things, she stops wondering about you in the back of her mind. And that is the beginning of real peace inside a relationship. Habit 2. You stay regulated when things get tense. Here's the part no one talks about. Your emotional state in conflict is not just about you. It becomes the emotional weather of the entire relationship. When things get tense, when she's frustrated, when she's venting, when the conversation goes sideways, the most powerful thing in that room is not what you say. It's how regulated you are when you say it. Most men do one of two things when tension rises. They either get defensive and match her energy, or they shut down and disappear behind a wall of silence. And both of those responses, though completely understandable, send the same signal to her nervous system. He can't hold this. I'm not safe to be emotional around him. Your nervous system in conflict is like a smoke detector. It cannot tell the difference between real danger and your partner raising her voice, so it sounds the alarm regardless. And the work, the actual work, is learning to hear the alarm go off and choose not to pull it. The disconnecting version. She's frustrated about something and her voice gets sharp. You clench, you get cold, you throw something back. Now you're both defending. The connecting version. She's frustrated, her voice gets sharp, and you take a breath. You stay. You say, I can hear you're upset. Tell me what's going on. That's it. She didn't expect that, and something in her says, he didn't flinch. He stayed. I can breathe again. This isn't emotional suppression. This isn't letting her walk over you. This is just what it looks like when a man has learned to be bigger than the moment. And nothing, bro, nothing earns deeper respect than that. Habit 3. You have a life that belongs to you. And this is the one most couples never figure out. There is a version of love that feels like merging, like you pour yourself so completely into the relationship that your individual identity quietly disappears. And it feels loving. It feels selfless. But here's what happens on the receiving end. When you have no world of your own, she cannot miss you. She cannot admire you. She can only feel the pressure of being your entire source of meaning and purpose. And that is an enormous, suffocating weight to put on any one person. Most men don't realize that a woman deeply respects a man who has direction, who has friendships, who has work he cares about, who has something he's building or pursuing that has nothing to do with her. Not because she wants you distant, but because a man with a life of his own is a man who chose her rather than needed her. And being chosen feels entirely different from being clung to. The disconnecting version. You're available every moment. You have no plans that don't involve her. And slowly, she starts to feel the whole weight of your emotional world on her shoulders. The connecting version. You've got your thing. You go. You come back full, not depleted, not resentful, not needing her to rescue you from your own emptiness. And her brain quietly registers, he's his own person, and he keeps coming back to me. That dynamic, a man who is whole on his own and still chooses her daily, is one of the most quietly magnetic things that exists inside a long-term relationship. Habit 4. You speak the hard thing before it becomes a wall. Here's what nobody explains. Emotional distance in a relationship isn't like a wall. It's like scar tissue that forms slowly over 100 small moments that never got addressed. Every time something bothered you and you swallowed it, it left a trace. Every time you felt unappreciated and said nothing, the trace deepened. And eventually, you're not just quiet, you're unreachable. And she can feel it. She just doesn't know what's underneath it. Most men believe that being easygoing means not bringing things up, that being the low-maintenance partner is a form of emotional maturity. But there's a difference between genuine peace and silent suffering. And one of them slowly kills intimacy while looking perfectly fine from the outside. Real emotional courage isn't loud. It's not dramatic. It's being able to say, "Hey, something's been sitting with me and I want to talk about it before it becomes a bigger thing." That sentence alone changes the entire dynamic. Because what she hears is not a complaint, it's an invitation. It says, "I trust you enough to be honest. I respect this relationship enough not to let things fester." The disconnecting version. You're bothered, you don't say anything, you slowly withdraw. She notices you pulling back but doesn't know why, so she fills the silence with her own story. Usually one that involves her being the problem. The connecting version. You name it early, calmly, without blame. "I felt like this, and I needed you to know." That's it. That is maturity made visible. And when you do that consistently, she stops having to guess what's going on with you. She stops walking on eggshells around your moods. And the walls between you start to come down without either of you having to say a word. Habit 5. You give your full attention without needing credit for it. Honestly, this one might be the most underestimated habit on this entire list. Because in a world where everyone's half present, where phones are always within reach and every notification is its own quiet priority, the act of giving someone your complete, undivided attention is one of the most profound things you can do. And most people don't realize how rarely they actually do it. Most couples sit together and are genuinely apart. He's watching something, she's on her phone. They're in the same physical space, but their attention is fractured. And the thing about fractured attention is that it communicates something, even when nothing is said. It communicates, "This, what's in my hand, is slightly more important than you. And over time, that message accumulates. Here's the deeper truth. Presence isn't just a physical thing. It's an emotional signal. When you put the phone down and actually look at her when she's talking, something shifts in her body before her mind has even processed why. Her nervous system registers. He's here. He's not somewhere else. I matter right now. And that feeling, the feeling of genuinely mattering to someone you love, is one of the rarest and most precious things in a relationship. The disconnecting version. She's telling you about her day, and your eyes drift to the screen every 20 seconds. The connecting version. You put it face down before she starts. You look at her. You ask a follow-up question that proves you were actually listening. And something in her is saying, I forgot how good it feels to have his full attention. This isn't a communication hack. This is just what an emotionally present man naturally does. And she will feel the difference immediately. Habit 6. You hold yourself accountable without being destroyed by it. Here's the part that trips most men up. There's a version of accountability that looks humble, but is actually self-protective, where you apologize quickly, almost reflexively. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Before you've actually sat with what happened. And then 2 days later, the same pattern shows up again. And again. And what she feels over time is not that you're humble. It's that you're apologizing to end her discomfort, not to actually change. Most couples get stuck in this cycle. He apologizes, she accepts, nothing shifts. She starts to feel like she's living in a loop, and her respect for how he handles accountability quietly erodes. Not because she's keeping score, but because accountability without change is just theater. Real accountability is slower and quieter. It's actually sitting with what you did and understanding why you did it. What was going on in you? What need was unmet? What old pattern showed up? It's being able to say, I've been thinking about what happened, and I understand it better now. This is what I think was actually going on with me. That's not a weakness. That is extraordinary emotional intelligence, and it is genuinely rare. The disconnecting version. I said I was sorry. What more do you want? The connecting version. I've been thinking about the other night. I think I was already overwhelmed, and I took it out on you. That wasn't fair, and I'm going to work on catching that earlier. That second one? Her brain registers, he actually reflected on this. He's not just managing me, he's growing. And when you become a man who holds himself accountable without being shattered by imperfection, she stops bracing for the defensive version of you, and she starts feeling genuinely safe in your presence. Habit 7. You are consistent when no one is watching. And this is where it all comes together. Because here's the real secret underneath all of these habits. Respect is not built by performance. It is built by character. And character, ultimately, is just who you are when there's no audience. When you're tired. When you're frustrated. When you didn't sleep well, and nothing went right, and the last thing you feel like doing is showing up as your best self. Most men focus on how they come across, how they present, how they look in the big moments. But here's what changes everything. The man that earns deep, lasting, unspoken respect from a woman is the man who is the same person in private as he is in public. who is the same man at the end of a hard week as he is at the beginning of a good one. Not perfect. Never perfect. But consistent. Consistency is the long game, and most people don't play it because they don't feel the payoff immediately. But her nervous system is tracking it. Quietly, constantly, invisibly. It is registering whether you are a stable or an unstable force in her world. The disconnecting version. You're charming and present when you're in a good mood, and closed off and sharp when you're not. She never knows which version of you she's coming home to. The connecting version. She comes home on a hard day and you're just you. Grounded, warm, present. Not performing love, just being it. And something in her says, this is home. This person is home. That consistency, quiet, unglamorous, and completely unannounced, is the most powerful thing you will ever do for the respect between you and her. It doesn't ask for recognition. It doesn't need applause. It just shows up. And she feels it. Deeply. These aren't tips. They are not tricks for getting a woman to see you differently. This is just what it looks like when a man decides, daily, without fanfare, to be someone worth trusting. Someone worth leaning into. Someone who earns presence, not just attention. When you internalize these habits, you stop reacting and start responding. And she will feel the difference before you've even said a word. The dynamic between you will shift, slowly at first, then unmistakably. Not because you changed the relationship, but because you changed the person showing up to it. These aren't 7 habits for a better relationship. They are the beginning of becoming the kind of partner you always wanted someone to be for you. And the relationship you want starts the moment you stop waiting for it to get better and decide to be what makes it better.